There's a kind of person who doesn't need to raise their voice to destroy your life. They just need time. Time to smile at you. Time to understand your dreams. Time to learn what hurts you. And then they strike. Not with fists, but with silence. With manipulation. With emotional traps so invisible, you won't even know you've been bleeding until it's far too late that you've met them. You might even trust one of them right now. Carl Jung didn't call them toxic or narcissists. Those are TikTok terms. Jung went deeper. He reached into the unconscious mind, yours and theirs, and exposed the shadows most people never dare to face. That he warned us. There are people who wear no masks, because they are the mask, people who aren't broken, but possessed by the very darkness they refuse to see in themselves, and if you let them near you, they will hollow you out, drain your potential, twist your purpose into servitude. But here's the real danger. They don't just harm you. They transform you into something you're not. So today we step into that darkness. You'll see who they are and what they hide. You'll learn to identify them not by what they say, but what they trigger in you. And by the end, you won't just know how to protect yourself. You'll know how to walk through fire, untouched. But first, you need to hear the story of the mirror. There was once a man, sharp, talented, a visionary. People loved him, trusted him, even envied him. But behind the scenes, he was married to someone who didn't celebrate his light. She fed off it at first. It was subtle, small insults in public disguised as jokes, withholding affection when he succeeded. But when he failed, that's when she became kind, supportive, loving. She only showed him warmth when he was weak. She didn't want a partner. She wanted a puppet, and every time he rose, she clipped his wings with a smile. I'm just trying to protect you. You're working too hard. Slow down. Don't get too full of yourself. He believed her, because love blinds us, but pain teaches us to see. Carl Jung would say she wasn't just a manipulator. She was the mirror. The mirror is a person who unconsciously reflects back the parts of yourself you've not yet owned. Your doubts, your guilt, your insecurities. They spot them like heat-seeking missiles, and they amplify them so you remain small. Not because they hate you, but because your growth threatens them. They fear becoming invisible when you become powerful, so they sabotage your rise and call it love. Sound familiar? You might have had a parent like this. A friend who laughed when you had a big idea. A partner who got anxious every time you glowed with confidence. Jung taught that if we haven't owned our shadow, our dark, powerful, independent self, we'll attract people who punish us for trying. But the mirror isn't the most dangerous. That title belongs to the hollow one. Imagine this, you're on fire for life. You have ambition, drive, hunger. And then you meet someone who seems harmless, soft-spoken, polite. They admire your passion. They support your journey. But then, they start echoing your thoughts, your beliefs, your goals. They stop being themselves and start becoming you. You think it's loyalty, but it's possession. And one day you look into their eyes and see nothing looking back. They are the hollow one. Carl Jung described these people as those who never developed a true sense of self. They don't have a center. They don't have identity. So they feed on yours. They don't steal your money. They steal your energy, your time, your vision. They agree with everything you say, not out of love, but out of fear. Because your intensity gives them purpose, but it also becomes their obsession. You start to feel watched, followed, not physically, but psychologically. They need your attention like oxygen, and if you take it away, they crumble, then rage, then guilt trip. You feel bad for pulling away. That's the trap. The hollow one doesn't attack you. They collapse in front of you, forcing you to become their emotional caretaker, and your mission, gone. Your fire, smothered. Because they don't just drain you, they distract you from who you were becoming. You stop fighting for your vision, because you're too busy rescuing someone who refuses to grow. It's psychological warfare disguised as dependence. And the worst part, they'll never admit it, because they don't know they're doing it, they don't know who they are, so they borrow you. Now take a breath, because already you're starting to see things you didn't want to. Faces in your life flashing through your mind. Moments that didn't feel quite right, but you brushed them off. You're not crazy. You're waking up. And this is just the beginning, because there are still darker ones ahead. People who smile at your success, but sharpen the knife in secret. People who only love you when you're under control, and one in particular, who doesn't want to drain you. They want to become you. Are you ready to face them? Then come closer, we're not done yet. You ever wonder why some betrayals feel worse than violence? Because when someone punches you, it's clear. It hurts, yes, but it's clean, obvious. You bleed, you bruise, you heal. But when someone poisons you slowly, through kindness, when they wrap their manipulation in affection, that doesn't heal. It haunts. And Jung warned us, the most dangerous predators don't growl. They whisper, they blend, they adapt. You don't see them coming. You invite them in. Point one of them is the most charming person in the room, always agreeable, always helpful. But deep inside, they're keeping score. They're not building a bond with you, they're building a ledger. Every favor, every compliment, every small act of support, it's recorded. Not in kindness, but as debt. They are the collector. At first, they seem like a dream. They anticipate your needs. They support your goals. They show up when no one else does. But eventually, they cash in. It starts subtly. After everything I've done for you, how could you say no? Wow, I guess loyalty doesn't go both ways. You've changed. They weaponize their generosity, and they use your guilt like a leash. The collector is a master of emotional accounting. They don't want mutual power. They want you indebted. Because as long as you feel like you owe them, you'll never leave, you'll never say no. You'll shrink yourself to preserve the illusion of loyalty. But here's the twist Jung knew well. The collector doesn't want your money or your success. They want control. And they get it not by domination, but by sacrifice. They make you believe that you are selfish for having boundaries, that you are ungrateful for wanting space, that you are cruel for putting your purpose first. They don't say it outright. They don't need to. You feel it in your chest. The tension, the pressure, the inner war between self-respect and shame. That war, it's how the collector wins. Because if you're constantly apologizing for existing, you'll never become who you're meant to be. Now, there's another type even darker than the collector. This one doesn't build emotional debt. They erase emotional reality. They are the reality bender. They lie so convincingly, you start questioning your own memories. You say, that hurt me. They say, you're too sensitive. You bring up a broken promise. They say, I never said that. You show them proof. They say, you misunderstood. And eventually, you stop trusting your own eyes, your own mind. Carl Jung called this psychic inflation. It's when someone's ego becomes so bloated, they no longer perceive reality, they replace it. These people are not just dishonest. They are delusional with power. But here's the part no one tells you. They don't need a crown or a kingdom. They can be a coworker, a partner, a parent. Their power doesn't come from status. It comes from the erosion of your confidence. They're not trying to win arguments. They're trying to reprogram you. Until you no longer trust your intuition. Until you seek their validation before speaking. Until you feel a gnawing fear every time you open your mouth. And when you finally call them out, they flip the script. You're attacking me. I don't deserve this. You're making me the villain. Suddenly, you're the problem, you're the abuser. You're the unstable one, and you start to wonder, am I? That's the trap. Jung warned that this kind of psychological manipulation fractures the soul. It pulls you out of alignment with your truth and into the orbit of someone else's fantasy. You're not living anymore. You're acting, performing, doubting, and every day you stay in their reality. You disappear from your own. But here's the secret the reality bender doesn't want you to know. The moment you stop needing their approval, their power vanishes. Because their spell only works if you still crave their love. When you break that craving, you reclaim your eyes, your memory, your truth, yourself, and that's the beginning of your psychological sovereignty. But we're not done. There's one more point, one darker than them all. They don't want your energy. They don't want your guilt. They don't even care about your reality. They want something far more dangerous. They want your identity. The final enemy is coming, and they don't just wear masks. They wear you, and once you see them, you can never unsee them. But if you don't, they will become you. You ever felt like someone was slowly becoming you? Stealing your phrases, mimicking your habits, echoing your dreams, as if they were theirs all along. It starts innocently. They admire you. They compliment your drive. They want to be more like you. It flatters you at first, but then your ideas come out of their mouth in front of others. Your style shows up on their body. Your stories become their tales of triumph, and soon you look into their eyes and feel like you're staring into a hollow reflection of yourself. Carl Jung warned us of the psychic doppelganger. They don't just envy your success. They envy your essence, and they'll do everything to absorb it, because deep down, they don't have a strong self. They're fragmented, lost, shapeless. But instead of building their identity, they borrow yours, piece by piece, trait by trait, until you start to feel erased. This is the person who praises you in public, but quietly competes with you in private. They want your light, but they also want to dim it so you don't shine brighter than they do. They're not trying to destroy you. No. They're trying to become you. And in the process, you start questioning yourself. Why does this feel so off? Am I just being paranoid? Maybe it's flattery, right? But it's not. It's theft of the highest form, soul mimicry. And here's where it gets dark. When they've copied enough, they begin to turn others against you. She's been acting different lately. I don't know if he's as original as he seems. They're kind of fake, don't you think? See what they did. They become you, then accuse you of being the copy. A classic projection. And you start doubting your place. You withdraw. You shrink. Exactly what they wanted. You see, Jung believed the self is sacred. It's not a costume. It's a living, breathing force earned through pain, reflection, and evolution. But the psychic doppelganger doesn't evolve. They imitate. And they'll do it until your own voice feels foreign in your mouth. But you can stop it. Right here. Not with confrontation that only feeds their need to mirror your fire. No, you stop it by diving deeper into yourself than they ever could. You stop it by evolving so rapidly. They can't keep up. Change your patterns. Sharpen your edge. Level up faster than they can mimic. Because when yourself is forged in fire, no counterfeit can survive the heat. And now that you see through the mirror thieves, we face the final archetype Jung feared most. It's not the charming deceiver. It's not the emotional manipulator. It's not the mimic. It's the parasite. This person doesn't want to change you. Doesn't want to outshine you. Doesn't want to wear your skin. They just want to feed on your life force. Emotionally, energetically, spiritually. They're always in crisis, always the victim, always dragging chaos behind them like a torn cape. But you can't leave them, because if you do, they crumble. At least, that's what they want you to believe. They make you feel needed. They make you feel like the only one who understands. They use your empathy as a chain, and they are masterful at it. Every moment with them is a rescue mission. Every conversation is a loop. Every request is a drain disguised as a need. You give, you comfort, you fix, and they keep falling apart just enough to keep you hooked. Jung saw these people as emotional vampires, not because they're evil, but because they've never developed a self that can hold pain without collapsing, so they outsource their suffering to you. But here's the forbidden truth. It's not your job to carry them. It never was. And the more you do, the more you weaken yourself. Until one day you realize you're not living anymore. You're managing someone else's emotional survival. You're not evolving. You're circling their abyss. You were born to build a life of strength and clarity, not babysit someone else's refusal to grow, and the moment you reclaim that truth, you break free. Because the parasite only survives if you stay in guilt, stay in savior mode, stay in smallness. But when you stand in boundaried power, you expose their illusion. They don't need you. They just preferred you over responsibility. Now you see it. The charm that hides envy, the love that hides control, the flattery that masks theft, the need that conceals weakness. And you're not prey anymore, you're the strategist now. But don't rush. You've just awakened. And in part 4, you'll understand exactly what this transformation means and why your silence, your strength, your sovereignty is the one thing they fear most. Now you know their faces. You've seen the charming ones who smile while hiding knives. You've felt the emotional storms that sweep in, drown you, and call it love. You've watched the mirrors morph and mimic until you questioned your own reflection. You've carried burdens that were never yours to hold and called it compassion. But now the fog has lifted. This isn't just about avoiding dangerous people. This is about becoming unshakable in a world full of shapeshifters. Carl Jung didn't teach us to run from the dark. He taught us to face it, to meet the monster. Not just in others, but in ourselves. Because the truth, the shadow lives in you too. Yes, you. The need to be liked, the urge to control, the hunger to be admired, the temptation to lean on others when you should stand alone. It's all there. And until you confront that part of yourself, you'll always attract those who reflect it back. That's the final test. Not just seeing the danger in others, but refusing to become it. You don't need to control people to feel strong. You don't need to be praised to feel worthy. You don't need to save anyone to feel important. And you definitely don't need to shrink to make others comfortable. You are no longer food for emotional predators. You are not a mirror for the lost. You are not a savior for the broken. You are something else now. You are a sovereign mind, and sovereign minds don't beg for love. They don't chase validation. They don't barter their peace for approval. They don't flinch when guilt is thrown like a rope. They walk with quiet fire. They build thrones in silence, and they wear their shadow like a crown. Not a chain. You feel that weight in your chest right now. That ache in your bones. That's not fear. That's power returning. That's your nervous system remembering who the hell you are. All this time, you thought your sensitivity was a weakness, that your self-doubt meant you weren't strong, that your desire to help others made you a target. But now you see clearly. Your sensitivity is a radar, not a flaw. Your doubt is a test, not a sentence. And your heart, your massive, aching, loyal heart, is not a leash. It's a sword. When you finally understand this, something strange happens. The manipulators stop calling. The energy drainers drift away. The copycats get uncomfortable. The guilt trips fall flat. Because your energy shifts. Your eyes harden. Your silence becomes a warning. They can't latch on anymore. Why? Because you're not feeding them. You're not playing anymore. They don't know what to do with someone they can't manipulate. You've become immune. This doesn't mean you become cold. It means you become clear. You can still love, still care, still give, but now you do it by choice. Not by programming, not by guilt, not by fear of being abandoned. You choose. You decide. You rule. That's what Carl Jung meant when he said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." You've made it conscious. You've seen the shadow. You've stared into the abyss and didn't flinch. And now, the abyss stares back in respect. Let that sink in. Let it burn into your nervous system, because the world won't stop sending these people. They're everywhere. But you're not the same anymore. You're not just aware. You're not just cautious. You're dangerous. In the best way. Dangerous to manipulators. Dangerous to narcissists. dangerous to anyone who thought they could hijack your light. And now, it's your turn to speak. Drop a comment and tell me, which one of these shadow types have you faced? Which one nearly broke you? And which one finally taught you to rise? Like this video if it cracked something open in you. Subscribe if you want more forbidden psychology, the kind they don't teach in books, and if you're ready to go even deeper into self-mastery, then keep watching. Because this path doesn't end here at IT, only gets darker, sharper, quieter, and more powerful. You've crossed the threshold. Welcome to the realm of the few, the sovereign, the sharp-minded, the shadow-crowned. You made it. Now rise.